Hello guys, my name is Nine and welcome back to another base building tutorial. Today we are going to be building the Gambit. The Gambit is a 2x3 open core base design that features a beautiful wide gap shooting floor, breach turrets that look into our open core, a very nice and compact compound, and well, that's about it. So, jumping off our external here, we're met with one of our 4 external TCs. Super cheap, all it's doing is upkeeping our wide gaps. So coming over here, you'll see that we have masonry disconnectables. Placing our roof tile like such, just add a twig, it'll open up. And then resealing like so. Entering into our gatehouse, you're going to see that we have some very basic yet functional peaks into our compound. They're just here for the just in case moments. Okay, entering in through here, we're going to see that the single door is actually going to lead up into our open core and all that. But first, we're going to show around to our left side of the base. So following these furnaces, you're going to see that we have what would have been another gatehouse, but instead is a bedroom with turret pods. And also on the other side, you'll see that using the honeycomb with a base, instead of just doing these frames all the way up, we're actually doing compound bedrooms. Now, this is kind of a decision. You don't have to do these, but I like these as more bedrooms in compound is always a nice thing. And also this garage door will lead to rotation up to that single door to shooting floor. Alrighty, coming back around, it doesn't matter which side we start from, so we'll start over here. Coming in through that single door, we're going to go right up to a jump up to our next level. We have a drop box room behind us with 4 boxes, just simple, just in case you need it. Some furnaces to the right in the honeycomb, and a locker on the other side. More drop boxes, and we can jump up to our open core. You'll see that these are the turrets I'm talking about beforehand. These things look into open core and will demolish you if you're in here. Okay, also, we have 3 big loot rooms, while 1 leads to our starter unit. So all in all, we have a good amount of storage in here. It is 18 large boxes, just counting these 3, and 18 smalls. And if you, I guess you can count this, and we get about 20 large boxes, 21 smalls, not including what's below here. So it's nice, easy, and simple. And now we're going to jump down to our starter unit. Yes, I'm using a ladder hatch here. You don't have to. You can just leave furnaces here. For now, that'll work perfectly fine. Jumping down here, you're going to see that it's just tons and tons of more loot space. Tons of boxes, whatever deployables you want. You can switch this locker out for whatever you want. I have tier 3 down here, as I like to use this as my crafting area, and up top is just a loot storage and kit storage. You can do whatever you want. It's obviously all personal preference. Jumping over to our TC here, you're going to see that this TC cost seems a little high. However, remember, I spammed every deployable in this base. This cost will be cheaper. So expect to at least get 1 day on this thing. It's pretty good overall compared to most. Alright, making this jump here. We're going to go back over here, and you're going to see that we have a jump up to the next level. Obviously, I'm using this honeycomb all the way up for whatever deployables I want. Here, we're using more lockers. You can obviously switch these with batteries if you want more battery rooms, or whatever you see fit. Jumping over here, we have a simple bedroom. It's just a 1 bed. You can fit 2 in here. However, I like a bedroom with tons of storage for myself. Jumping up another level, this is our team bedroom. Now remember, this base is going to be about for 4 to 6 players, but I only have 4 beds up here. You can obviously put more in different spots. You can cram them in, do whatever you want, but this entire area is a battlement floor where we have 2 lockers and our 2 main batteries. Obviously, different corners, switch it up, much harder to get. Alright, going out and onto our shooting floor, you'll see that the entire thing is partitioned by these double doors, and that we have beautiful peaks into compound. They're simple, yet they're really nice. And as you can see here, the peaks just get better as you keep going. There's an optional ramp peak. You can just make this a square if you like that more and want a little more room to walk around with. We also have a roof peak right here, like so. Super simple. Put a single door on here. Personally, I just leave it off because it does not matter too much to me. And obviously more peaks on the sides of these as well. And as you saw in the compound, this is our way up, just with some ladders. Okay, coming back through here, I'm just going to show off a little more of the peaks. Obviously, we have a beautiful 360 of this entire compound. Okay, coming back to that one jump up before, we're going to jump up another level higher. As you can see, this entire roof has tons of peaks out and around. It's got 6 roof turrets. Obviously, these 4 are going to be the more important ones under these, like these. These will be the most important, as these are the only ones actually needed to cover your roof. However, if you have extras, these are also nice little spots for them. And also, 2 windmills. You can obviously fit more if you so desire. But that about does it for the tour. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything of that sort, please jump in the description and let me know. Also, if you have building questions, join my Discord. I'll leave a link in the description. Without further ado, I'm going to take us on to the cost and upkeep of this space. Alrighty guys, at this point you guys are wanting to see the cost and the upkeep of the base. So here we are, 67k stone, 77k metal, and 450 high qual. Remember, this is with every single deployable place, even the random ones that are probably not needed. And also, I've spammed a lot of high qual for overnight protection. You don't have to do this, but use it rather than lose it. And finally here, we're going to have the upkeep of the base. So the upkeep isn't that bad. It is a single TC base, so as you may have saw in the tour, all the upkeep is on that single TC. Almost nothing is on the externals because they just hold up a little wide gap. So 14k stone, 16k metal, 124 high gold, pretty darn cheap. And next year, we're actually going to be showing off the Builder Sanctuary code. So IEZHNE. Load this thing up, give it a test drive, you know, mess around with it, make a V2, have fun with it. You know the deal. And one last thing, I'm going to be a little shameless here. And guys, if you haven't already subscribed, only 4.2% of you guys are, and it would mean the world if you could do that. Okay, I'll shut up and stop being a little plugin guy now. I hope you guys enjoy the base build. I love you all, and I'll see you later. Alright? Alrighty guys, before we actually do the build, I'm quickly going to show off the footprint. Some people have been asking for this in previous videos, so I thought it might be a good idea to show it off just before the build. So as you can see, we're using a 3x2, which is not formed and isn't really in the meta right now. So hopefully we can change that here today, but without further ado, we're actually going to get into the build. So I'll wipe the island and we'll get started from there. So to start off the build, place a simple 3x2 with a triangle airlock on the wider end. Walling in the entire thing. This is going to become our triangle airlock. And later this will just become a vending machine and it'll be all good and dandy. So all except for one we're going to make wood. So whichever one you want to be your jump up to the higher level will be wood. And we'll still make a shelf in here and do all that. However, I'll place my TC here and cap off the rest of this thing. Placing my shelves, every deployable you might want. Okay, so the reason we're leaving this wood is because this will be the entrance from our open core. If you really wanted to, you could leave this entrance that I'm making now. However, we're going to use a vending machine and block this off a little bit later. So this is what will be our normal airlock, but for now, I'm going to toggle on some symmetry. But before I do so, come over to this other side and honeycomb the opposite triangle. Just honeycomb, just so it's all symmetrical. Okay. Time to expand the footprint. 2 triangles here and 3 triangles here. Showing off that this is how the footprint is. We'll keep going. We're gonna honeycomb this little guy in here, place a double door frame, and keep it like that for now. You can obviously door this off or do whatever you want with it for now. We leave a garage door in the tour, but for now, we're just gonna leave it as nothing, as it doesn't matter. Coming into here, we're gonna honeycomb this off. I like to personally honeycomb this. And now be aware, if you're actually using this base on a normal wipe, leave this piece open until you have to close it, or you have this top jump up ready. Because right now, we're just honeycombing the base to make sure it's a little more secure early game. So as you can see, this will be left open, and on this side, obviously, we're not using that yet, so don't worry too much about it. Alrighty, now that we're honeycombed, we're going to start building our open core. So coming over to the squares, we're going to build 2 up around the entire perimeter. Except for in this middle here, we're going to be placing a wall frame and a window. Okay, now for the half walls. Half walls going this way, and walls going up through the middle. Now we can place a half wall in the middle, followed by some ramps. The easiest way to place these is stand on this half wall and look straight down. You'll get prompts like this, and it'll be good. Okay, now coming over here, we won't be able to place a ramp tile yet because of symmetry, but I will show you how to do this. Ramp here, and I'm going to toggle symmetry off just for a second here. We don't want to put a ramp tile here because we have to break it, like so. I'll toggle symmetry back on. To place our triangles in here for our open core, place a square. You can place a triangle through on the other side, and then you can place a triangle back. As you can see, that triangle is still there. I'll remove it from the outside here and come back and do the same thing here. You can obviously place this entire thing from the outside. I just have this unique little builder way of doing it. Double door frames here. And you can completing our loot room. Alrighty. I'm going to fly up here, however you want to do a build up to jump up here and place our floor frames. Like so. Our normal floors and our ramps to seal the entire thing off. Alrighty. At this point, this is what we're left with. Obviously, if you haven't already, make sure you're always adding doors throughout base, beefing it up to be as expensive as humanly possible. But for now, we're just going to keep honeycombing and building this thing up. Off the stubbier side of the base, we're going to be building up our honeycomb. 3 levels. And even walling this up like so. And I like to put a floor frame here, a doorway, and this is how I seal it off initially. Now, we'll be fine on this regard because this will be our rotation all the way up to shooting floor. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like so until we put our turret pods in here, which I'll do after I finish this section of the base here. So, coming from the outside, I'm actually going to finish the footprint by off the already long triangle side, a triangle and square. And now be aware this is really just going to be honeycomb for the base. Now these squares will turn into bedrooms later. It's optional, you don't actually have to do them, you could just build them straight up. But at this point, I'm actually going to come in here on this side where the door is and honeycomb it in officially. And I'll actually sheet metal all of this before I go any further. And at this point, if you haven't already, I have toggle symmetry off for this, but break this. And apologies about this. This frame here isn't actually needed. You usually just make this like a ladder hatch frame, and for a jump up, I like to just either put a furnace here, or if you can make the jump further back. And obviously it won't be too hard of a jump, but some newer players may have a little troubles. Okay, finishing the footprint, we're gonna place 3 triangles here, and make our entry into the base. Remember always to add your glass windows, your single door, and make sure this thing is all secure. Coming in, we're gonna add our jump up, cap this little area off, and then continue by capping the entire thing off and in. Now I'm just going to do, for the ease of access, do my lockers here. However, remember you can put other deployables in these slots as well. You can put vending machines for all I care. It's personal preference and entirely up to you. I'm going to sheet metal this wall as it's a very important one. These are our drop boxes. I won't place them here, but as you can see, drop boxes go here, and then you can window them off, or if you feel like it, you can garage door it off. Continuing on through this entire section, you can see I'm slowly building up. Capping off these triangles that those lockers are in. Keep building up. I'm going to place a twig triangle here to keep going and placing more lockers. Yep, spamming lockers is always a good idea, making sure you're always prepared. This is going to be a bedroom. I just like to leave it how it is there. And we continue going up, making this thing taller. Make sure to place glass windows here so they can't just jump on in. If it doesn't work, make sure to replace. Alrighty, be back in 1 second. Alrighty, we're back here, and now we're going to continue on by upgrading this entire top section. So upgrading these squares first, I'm going to toggle symmetry back on and do these ramps. Obviously, you're going to want this entire thing to be sheet metal, as this is going to be one of the main battlement areas of your base. So from the interior here, these are going to be our battery rooms. Make sure to sheet metal these. And then these can just be lockers, but if you do make them batteries, please sheet metal them. More expensive, the much better chance you have of winning this online. Coming over here, we'll place our battery rooms, and if you have them, reinforced glass windows. Okay. Dooring off and windowing off this entire section. It's now time to secure these areas, and before I do so, I'm going to be placing shelves in here with a half wall, and then placing the wall. You can obviously do this many other ways, but this is just the way that works best for my librarian. Yep, capping off this entire section. I like to do this as much so in sheet metal as possible, like so. This is going to lead up to our shooting floor, so we're simply just going to be placing like this. And before our wide gap goes on, there isn't much to do. So, jumping up to here, this will be our roof. And we'll just glass window these puppies off. Alrighty. Glass windowing whatever we can. To place our turrets, I'm gonna jump this out of twig. Apologies for that there. Jump to some twig, place these the best you can, like I do here. These will look straight into our open core, and make sure to sheet metal these pods. These are some of the most important parts of your base. They may not look it, but they are. They'll look straight down to that open core. Now I'm going to fly down to this open core and quickly show you what to upgrade before we jump into our wide gaps. So, sheet metaling everything I do here. It's basically just sheet metaling every wall, like so, just to make it easy for you to get at. And then if we jump down, these don't be armored, to this bottom section, I personally like to armor this entire section if possible. And obviously I'm using a little sanctuary command to get everything to go quicker here, but I'll usually HQM tiles like so. Toggling symmetry off, I'm going to show you how to make this airlock more expensive. Sheet metaling this one, coming in here and removing this door. I usually tend to either remove this door to make it easier or just leave it. I'll sheet metal everything in this section and armor this tile, all like so. Now grabbing that vending machine I was talking about before, if you can't place it, sometimes you can't, you gotta remove this door and step over here, then place it back. It's a nice little section to flex your loot in a little bit of a secure spot. And obviously make sure to sheet metal these walls in between. Okay, base is coming along nice now. Sheet metal these portions if you can. I know they're a little hard to reach once you have boxes in there. I'll show it off like that. If you can, it's always good to make it a little more expensive. Okay, toggling symmetry back on. So at this point you see that our open core has really good shape. It's got our 3 main loot rooms. It's got our drop down into what will be our starter. We obviously have our rotation, our bedrooms, and all that set up. But what's now going to happen is we're going to be adding our compound and the last bits of honeycomb. So before compound, like I said, last bits of honeycomb, super simple. Off these triangles here, we're going to be building, excuse me for not having symmetry, for having this on, 3 stories up and place a triangle at the top, every side. Like so. And then at this one is optional that you do this, however I like to do it, is I turn this into a single person bedroom. You can never have enough bedrooms, man. I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times. And then sheet metal this, just for stability for that shooting floor portion. Okay. As you can see now, base is taking its form. I like to glass window this section, even though it's part of the shooting floor, as just personal preference. Okay. Okay. Now that we've finished the honeycomb and the little bedrooms here, we're gonna come over to this side here and place 4 squares out, break the 3 squares. I'm gonna do this at a twig, so it makes sense so you don't upgrade it. Place 5 triangles coming back, break 4, place a square, triangle, triangle on each side, break this initial square you had, 1 more square, and that is what's going to be our bedroom gatehouse. So now to wall this in, this is going to be where I put my auto turrets. I know I'm doing it from a really weird angle here, so apologies. And to make sure these foundations don't decay, make sure to place your frames as early as possible, like so. Okay. Now we're going to make the external for this thing real quick. And to do so, you're just going to do a masonry disconnectable. You can do whatever kind you want, but this is what I do. Just to get the distance. Make this wood, make this stone. 2 half walls, full wall. I usually just do 2 garage doors because people don't rate them as religiously as many think. Place DC there. And connect this to this, like so. That is your masonry disconnectable and your first 2 of 4 wide gaps. And as you can see, the base is really starting to take form now. Now to do these wide gaps, you're simply going to build 3 squares out. Followed by, and obviously I'm keeping things upgraded how I like so. So you place 3 squares out, come back entirely with triangles, and use triangles to get this footprint across your base. And you can see it's really making sense. And to make sure this doesn't decay, place your first floor of frames like so. Okay. And just like the others, we're going to place our external. And I'll do this as sheet metal, Half walls on this side, full wall on that side. Switching back to stone. Obviously, garage door these up as soon as possible. Double door frame here. Triangle, triangle. Square. Triangle, triangle. And then build your gatehouse of choice. I decided just to not do turreted gatehouses this time, however you can. Just for the basic. Alrighty, at this point I'm going to show you quickly how to make your compound, and then we're going to build up the shooting floor. So, the easiest way I found to do this compound is come from this side over here, the one that has the actual gatehouse, and just place it as straight with a little bit into the right. It's a little weird, it'll take a little practice if you don't know how to do it, but it should line up pretty well. And same thing with this one, curve it in a little bit right, look to your left, and see that you're doing it right, and then it should be kind of good. Obviously, I messed it up pretty badly here, so that means I did not curve in right enough on this one. So if I try it again, and I try it again on both these, like I said, practice before on a server. I didn't get enough practice. There you go. It's a good compound, like so. So curve it in a good amount, and it takes a little practice, but once you get it, it'll be nice and easy. Obviously, my gatehouse busted because of sanctuary, but it's okay. Same thing, I'm going to show you, but from a little different angle because I'm flying. Okay. And I'm actually going to replace this one because I don't like it too much. Just for the aesthetics. Okay. And if you also didn't think of doing it, put some metal barricades down. I do these like so. I'll place twig like so. So let me put these at a twig, just to give you a better visual representation, like so. 2 metal barricades will cut it, but if you really are wanting to make sure you keep the grubs out, do 3. Excuse that window not placing. And yet again, come over here with your twig. And I will use my remover tool to get rid of these. Okay. Time to build up the actual shooting floor. So coming on this side of the base here, I'm going to be building the sheet metal simply to 3 stories. Placing my triangles and my windows. Super simple, self-explanatory. You get the point. That's the basic form of the shooting floor, and then capping it off. Cap off of this section, same kind of thing. Just cap it off. We'll place some frames here in a second, and make sure to jump in with your window on each side. Okay, this section is a little different as we want a roof peak in here. So what you're gonna want to place is a double door frame off the external with a half wall, and then 2 windows. Yep, a little weird. And off the normal portion over here, build 3 high, place like so. And if you want the optional ramp, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to place half walls like here on both. Place your windows like such. Place a floor frame for higher stability. And place your ramp like so, upgrading this one to sheet metal. And then you break this entire little build up down here, and you got your ramp. Same thing, window this thing off. Gonna place my windows like such. My single door, which will act as my peak to roof. If you're having trouble placing this, add stability here like such. Coming in here. Now obviously, as you can see here, this little area is more of a faraway peak that's just kind of hidden. You won't be using that too much, but it's fine. These side peaks, you're gonna want your other kind of window. Apologies for not having it ready. You can place them from below like such. These are really good peaks when you jump up to, excuse the lag. Here, these peaks become really nice for compounds. They're simple, but they're nice. And then finally capping this thing off. 2 more windows. These will be more useful for roof. And yet another window. You can also turn this into like a mini bedroom if you want. I will usually throw a bed in this area. Don't forget to door off this section as well. You can also use this entire section, like right here, I will usually add my double doors just to partition the entire shooting floor. And then if you want a really good spot for turrets, in my opinion, on the shooting floor, you can actually place turrets, what I personally think, sorry, wrong spot, different base, on these. Putting them here will give you basically full coverage. If I'm standing here, these turrets will, it's hard. If I want to peek and run that way, it's all about just spamming them. But don't worry too much about it. Oh, apologies yet again. My lag is getting very bad. I apologize. Jumping back to roof. The last thing to do is add our roof ramps, our peaks, and all that. So coming with windows like such, and then from these windows, placing triangles above these guys. And we're gonna actually put turrets up there, so that's why we're doing it like such. I leave nothing above this, personal preference if you really want something. Jumping up here, we're gonna place our turrets. Put them as far back as possible into these ramps just to be more covered. Those are your 4 main roof turrets. I'm gonna sheet metal this just for my sanity. Coming over here, I like to put a roof coming towards the base and putting a turret below it if you have the turret. And this one can go pretty far back, which gives just, this one's pretty darn well covered. It's kind of hard to hit this thing, which is nice. And then finally, the last thing to do is add your roof tiles on these sections. As you can see, this roof is really, really complete. You can turn any of these spots kind of into bedrooms if you wanted. I like to just like glass window these off, throw a bed here, throw a locker here, and you're good to go. That's all you have to do. Or you can take over this entire central area, make a heli garage. You can just make it a bedroom area, whatever you want. But whatever you do, turn this area right here into a 3-high windmill at least. I wouldn't go too much higher than that, as you might be able to place a main TC off of it, even with the externals being really tall. So sometimes it's a little difficult to place this, but give me a second. There we go. And like so. And as you can see here, the base is practically done. It's a big shooting floor, it's a nice open core, and a weird and unused footprint. So hopefully you guys did like it, you did enjoy, and if you did, consider dropping a like and a sub. I know this is a shorter video, I believe, but without further ado, have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next one.